The opening line of Kathy Day's tapestry of short stories, The Circus in Winter, reads, "Circus proprietors are not born to sawdust and spangles." Perhaps not, but if this musical version of Kathy's book is any indication, some circus people might be born to Broadway dreams.
When I'm asked, what's the show about, what's the story? I'm like, well, there are two different stories. There's the story of the plot of the book of The Circus in Winter, and then there's the story of how it was all created. And to me, the second is the most fascinating. Yeah.
Intrigued? Flash back more than a century to a more than unlikely inspiration.
This is the bullhook that my great-great-uncle Henry Hoffman used to defend his life against Charlie the Elephant in 1901, unsuccessfully.
From such family tragedy, Peru's Kathy Day penned a student thesis. The thesis morphed into a series of single stories until they finally became a book. About the circus, to be sure, but not about the circus you know.
I think that one of the problems with Indiana literature, or Midwestern literature actually, is our propensity to think that to be from this place, that this is like this happy-go-lucky place with happy-go-lucky people. They're all so nice, and that's partly true, but it's also not true.
Enter student project number 2. 3.5 years ago, Beth Turcotte sized up her immersive learning class at Ball State and realized she had found a collection of talents and interests that she had been hoping for a long time.
It was like, okay, we're going to write a musical. A little bit Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, absolutely. It was, fearless. You have to be fearless and not know what you don't know.
For their student project, the class picked that one-time student thesis.
I felt the book, and so did the class, and you could live in every one of Kathy Day's sentences.
I would be reading a part of the book, and I'd bust out my highlighter and write it down. I would dream in the 1890s and stuff sometimes. Musicals aren't so much written as they are rewritten. Sometimes it's a waiting game, and then just all of a sudden it comes to you in 20 minutes later you've got it, and it stays forever. It was a wild 3 months.
Yep, you heard that right. The whole project, from sawdust to spectacle, took flight in just 3 months.
You feel like you're in a wind tunnel, and you just can't do wrong. And we made lots of mistakes, but the whole thing, you just...
I know Beth very well, and I know that when she says she's on to something, I know that she's on to something.
Ken's a Ball State alum, by the way, working for theatrical publisher and licensing company Samuel French Incorporated.
You see a lot of work, and you see a lot of work that attempts to strum the human heartstrings, and this work just effortlessly does it. It just does it without even trying.
It was guitar-based, it was folk bluegrass-based, and it was written to tell stories. And that combination doesn't happen very often in musical theater.
Everything about The Circus in Winter is a little different, except for some timeless themes.
To me, the circus represented a place where it's okay to be a freak, where it's okay to be different.
Different is okay, and to embrace the difference. I think there's a little bit of a freak inside of us all.
If it wasn't okay to be a freak, then somebody would have had a problem with me being a musician. And that means that I might not be a musician. I love being a musician.
Many read-throughs, a full-blown performance or two, including one at the Kennedy Center. And a slew of awards later, everyone involved with the musical has started thinking Broadway.
It's going at a speed and in a direction that few shows at this stage get into. And that's what's most exciting for me right now.
It doesn't hurt either when a superstar like Tony winner Sutton Foster takes an interest.
She's somebody who has a lot of the same dreams that I do, who's been in the same position that I am right now, and she's a mentor, she's a guide, and it's been crazy. It's awesome.
Ben and I were talking one night, and we were talking about the Tony Awards. And that was crazy and could seem a little nuts for us to be talking about the Tony Awards right now. But for me, we were talking about it. It's like, if you don't dream about it, it's not going to happen. Circus in Winter is not going to fall into the lap of Broadway. One of the things we've said about the Circus in Winter from its inception is that we're taking Broadway back to what it was originally meant to be. New music, fresh ideas, new faces.
That's the real goal here, is we're making an indelible mark on musical theater.
There's a lot of love in this project, and I think everyone involved wants nothing more than success for ourselves as individuals, each other, and the project, and it's hard to come in contact with anything where there's that much positive energy behind it. You don't even realize how involved you are in something just because it's so much fun, you know what I mean? I love every part of it.
When you get to a feeling like that, and the music sounds like the way you like music to sound, and the stories are things that you relate to, it's addicting, and you can't leave it behind.
We did this concert version, and this is the truth. A faculty member came up to me and said, "It's a miracle." You know, and I didn't doubt for 1 second.
And if Ken and company have their way, someday on that street that George M. Cohan so highly regarded, there's gonna be a whole lot of believers.